Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Combat Sports UK YouTube channel. It's a pleasure to be joined this afternoon by Cage Warriors bantamweight contender and next-gen MMA fighter, Nathan Fletcher. Nathan, how are we today, mate?
I'm all good, brother. Thank you very much for taking your time out to get me on for an interview and promote this fight I've got coming up. So I appreciate it, mate. How are you?
I'm all good here, mate, and right about the same at you. Thank you for coming on today. It's taking time out of your day as well. And talking of today, it is Bank Holiday Monday. For everybody, that usually means a day off. Is it the same for you, or is it back in the gym as usual?
Yeah, same as normal, to be honest, mate. I've had a very standard Monday, so nothing really changed with the bank holiday. I went in the gym this morning at 10 o'clock, trained for 2 hours with the pro team in Next Gen, and then in the afternoon I was with my boxing coach, Chris, working the hands. So it was a standard Monday for me.
Yeah. Well, a few days ago, and the main reason we're talking today is you announced your next professional upcoming fight. You're going to be taking on Thomas Bryan at Cage Warriors 160. How are preparations going for that fight? And have you started your camp yet? And how is that going so far?
Yeah, I've definitely started camp. I've been actually training for the fight for the best part of the last 3 or 4 months, to be honest. I wasn't sure when I was going to be getting back in there. My last victory, I come away obviously with a first round finish, no injuries, nothing. So I've been back in the gym since April. I went on holiday for like a week after that fight, and then I've pretty much been training right the way through. Obviously I've been taking little deload weeks here and there so as I don't burn myself out, but I've been ready for a fight all summer, and I'm definitely deep into camp now, and I'm just chomping at the bit, ready to go. September 29th can't come quick enough now.
Yeah. And how long has this fight been in the pipeworks? How long has it been talked about with you and your team?
So I knew I was fighting Thomas. That name probably got given to me about 2-3 weeks ago. And then normally the way it goes with my career, I've been offered a name, and then something goes wrong with that one, then we get another name, then something goes wrong with that one, and by the end of the camp I've gone through about 5 or 6 names from the first person I get offered. Whereas this one, I wasn't sure what show I was going to come back on, but when they said the Manchester card was going to be an option, I thought I want to fight on that. It's close to home. I do a lot of tickets. I like the venue. It's easy for me. I can literally cut weight at my house and drive down to the venue on fight day. So yeah, Thomas was the first opponent that I got offered for Manchester, and it all went smooth. Obviously, touch wood, nothing goes wrong between now and Friday the 29th of September, but he was the first name that I got, and it all got signed and sealed within like a 2-week window of hearing about it. So I was very happy with how things went for this one.
Well, it's interesting because we spoke after Cage Warriors 152, after your last victory. And when I asked you whether you wanted a title shot next, unlike many other fighters, you gave quite a reserved answer in terms of the fact that you did want a title shot, but you were kind of happy with Cage Warriors, you were happy with the promotion, and you had the trust within them to do the best for your career. Was that still in your mindset agreeing to this fight, or was the title fight, the first choice? It's difficult to say, but yeah.
Yeah, I completely trust Cage Warriors with my career. Do you know what I mean? And my management and my coaches, I put all my faith in them. I'm very happy with the way things are going. I'm very happy with this opponent. I've got a 5-1 in Thomas Bryan. He's got a winning record. He comes from a good gym, shooter box, Sao Paulo, so he's training with the likes of Charles Oliveira. He's from that Diego Lima, is it? Is that the coach there? Douglas Lima or something? He's the kickboxing coach. Yeah. So obviously they're good, stable of lads, and I think it's a good gym. It's a good name to take out and add to my resume. And after this one, I'm going to be undeniable, obviously, for the title shot or for the UFC call-up, I believe. I think I'll be 9-1 after this fight, and it's another opponent with a winning record. I've never fought anybody with a losing record in my pro career, so it's just adding to my resume. And I'm stacking up the wins. I'm going to be stacking up the finishes, because I'm confident I'm going to go out there and get another finish in this fight. And then I feel like it's going to put me in a very good position. Again, I'll be high up the card on a hometown show, a good opponent with a winning record, and I'm going to put on a fantastic performance. And then, like I said last time, I'll be in a very good position for whether that's a title shot or whether that's a UFC call-up or whatever's next.
Yeah. And how do you see him as an opponent technically?
From what I've seen of him, there's not a lot there's not a lot of actual fight footage, but I've seen a lot of highlights, a lot of training clips, stuff like that. And he seems good. He seems well-rounded, a little bit wild, to be honest. He seems quite happy to exchange in the pocket and quite happy getting hit, which I don't think is going to serve him very well fighting me. I think he's definitely, he overextends. He's open to be taken down. He's open to be countered. And I just believe I'm a better all-round mixed martial artist than him. So, like I said, solid opponent, but I think I'm levels above pretty much the whole European and regional scene that I'm on now. I feel like I'm at world level, so I'm excited to prove that against the Brazilian, and keep proving that I'm the best bantamweight outside of the UFC.
Yeah, and you kind of touched upon it there, but I was wondering, because he's only fought in Brazilian promotions, he's only trained in Brazil. Does that make footage and therefore overall preparation a bit more difficult?
Yeah, definitely. There's not normally I get like a breakdown done of all my opponents before the camp, and so we can study the tendencies, the habits that they have, and sort of plan the training around that. And with him, there's not a lot of footage that we can break down. A couple of his finishes that we've seen, and to be honest, a lot of it I'm going off a lot of training footage that he puts up. Do you know what I mean? So I've got a good idea of the type of person I'm going to be fighting. But that's another thing. I feel like I'm well prepared and very well rounded. So no matter what I get faced with on the night, I'm going to be able to adapt and overcome any adversity I might face. So if I feel that I'm, not really winning in a certain area, I know I can switch it up on the fly and take the fight somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? So no matter what he brings to the table, I know I'm going to be ready for anything and everything.
Yeah, and you're obviously a very well-rounded fighter, but your strength and your deadliest weapon is clearly your chokes, whether that be the triangle or rear naked. That's where the majority of your finishes have come from. Do you see that being an area where you can then exploit in this next fight at the end of September?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think I can choke pretty much anyone in the world at 135 pounds.
Yeah.
I feel like my grappling is at such a high level to where when people get in there with me, they feel it. Do you know what I mean? They always end up exposing the back or exposing the neck. But we'll see. Like I say, I'm well rounded. I want to start getting some knockouts, to be honest. I want to start letting my hands go a little bit more because in the gym, I'm improving at such a fast rate in that area. My striking's coming on camp after camp after camp. And then every time I get in there, I always end up in a grappling exchange and choking someone. So we'll see what happens. Maybe this opponent will be the one where I can showcase a little bit of me striking. But you never know. If that back presents itself and I can take his neck, I'm definitely going to be doing that as well. I'm not going to be drawing it out and making it a longer night than what it needs to be.
Well, talking about that aggressive wrestling, I guess that's indicative of next gen as a gym, isn't it? And the strength of the wrestling and BJJ coaches that you've got there, and how then that skill sets apply to you in your professional career so far.
Yeah, definitely. I think another thing is what makes us so good at offensive grappling is how good our defensive grappling is. So the guys I'm training with, all my training partners know exactly our system of getting the takedowns, getting to the back, securing submissions. So their defense is so on point now that I need to be levels ahead again in order to get into those attacking positions. So I feel like when I come up against someone who's not been drilling our systems and training our level of offense and defense, that they fall apart. When I put them in the position, I'm thinking, oh wow, it's normally a lot harder than this in the gym before I get to this point. Whereas in the fights, it seems to come pretty quick. You know what I mean? So yeah, next time we're very high level in all areas, and we're just leveling up continually as the fights go on and as the years go on. Though
I know some fighters don't like doing it, but have you got any predictions for the fight that you want to share?
I predict that I'll win, and I predict that I'll finish him. That's all I can say. Obviously, when you're in a fight, you've got to kind of be reactive. Do you know what I mean? I never want to go in with like. Obviously, you play out in your head how you think it could go. You see yourself finishing it in different ways, but ultimately, I might get in there and then he does something completely outlandish that I didn't expect. That you know what I mean? That I'm not prepared for. So it's like you've got to just adapt on the fly. But I know that 15 minutes is enough time for me to finish anybody. I feel like so. I'm confident that I'm going to get the win and I get the finish by any means necessary.
Yeah, definitely. And considering this is a 3-round fight, I know you've fought 5-rounder before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do those two training camps differ?
Yeah, quite a bit, to be honest. I think when I fought 5 rounds, I was very, what's the word I'm looking for? I was ill-experienced. I wasn't quite ready for what that was going to, like, my style is always quite a fast, aggressive pace. And for 3-round fights, that's fine because I can sustain that for 15 minutes, but no human being alive can sprint for 25 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know how fit you are, but like, especially my genetics, my body type, I'm quite fast twitch as well. I'm not just all like Nate Diaz style, like, do you know what I mean? Slow switch fighter. So to put on that pace for 25 minutes, you've got to be a little bit more efficient with your energy. And I feel like that was where obviously my only loss in my pro career is coming a 5-round fight, and that was down to inexperience. If that was a 3-round fight, I'm pretty sure I would have held on, and I dominated the entirety of the fight until the last 30, 40 seconds of exchanges where I completely gassed out. Do you know what I mean? But I've learned from that, obviously. So then next time I do step in there for the 5-rounder, I feel like I'm going to be much better prepared for that 25 minutes. But like I say, 15 minutes, I can sprint 15 minutes pretty comfortably. So I don't need to change too much up there for the 15-minute fight.
Yeah, but you just mentioned it there as well. How you learn from maybe not mistakes, but processes you've gone through in the past. And even though you do have a losing record, that loss is against a very talented fighter as well in Dominic Wood, and it does happen in this sport, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was 23 years old then, fighting for a world title. I was 6-0 in professional MMA. It all kind of happened really quick for me. From turning pro to fighting for the title was like a 2-year period. Do you know what I mean? So I was inexperienced, and obviously going into that fight, I didn't think that. I thought, I've been smashing through everyone, I'm just going to smash through Dom now. But you do need those lessons. And MMA, I'm glad that MMA is a sport where you can take losses, and some people will still count you out, but like the majority of the fans know that you see most of the guys at the top of the sport have got 1 or 2 losses, 3 losses on the record. So it's not a sport where you can go through undefeated, unless obviously in very, very rare cases that can happen. But majority of guys, you need to take those lessons early on to then progress into be world championship level fighters. So, and I feel that's where I'm heading now, especially after taking that lesson early on in my career.
Definitely. And finally, we've been saying throughout the whole interview, you've been kind of relaxed about next opponents, and you trust in the Cage Warriors process and what they've got planned for you. But is not the end goal, but the next goal still, the UFC in mind? Obviously, a lot of Cage Warriors fighters have just been signed up. Kalen Loughran, who you beat in the amateurs. So is that still what you're looking at? Yeah,
and my boy Oban Elliott's just been signed up as well after contender
of course,
series.
Yeah.
Oban, absolute legend. I'm made up for him. So I feel that's where I'm heading. Like you say, Cage Warriors is the platform, isn't it, to send guys on from this regional European circuit onto the UFC. So I'm in the right place. I've been with Cage Warriors since I turned pro. I've won 8 fights on the promotion. I'm about to win my 9th. So I'm heading in the right direction. But again, like, I'm not in a rush. I'm happy to be getting fights. I'm happy with the way everything's going. I'm staying active this year now. Fought New Year's Eve, fought April. I'm going to fight again in September. So I can keep this going, get more wins, more finishes, more experience under my belt. I know that when the time's right, I'm going to burst onto the scene in the UFC and come for the top level of the division. I'm not going to be one of those guys that get into the UFC and just happy to be there. I'm preparing myself now so that when I do get there, I'll have faced already tough competition. I'll have seen a lot of different looks. And when I get into the UFC, I'm expecting to cat's bomb myself right up the roster. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm better than half the guys on the UFC roster already. Look at Kalen Loughran, who's just been signed. I'm 10 times better than him. So, I'm very confident that everything's going well, everything's going smooth, and I'm happy with the way my career is playing out so far.
Perfect, mate. Well, best of luck next month out. I'll certainly be watching. And again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to speak to us.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Jay. Nice to speak to you, brother.